episode of SyncRiffs. My name is Charles Van from Blue Buddha Entertainment. We're an LA-based sync agency firm here, and welcome to the studio. I have a very special guest, Jeff Caudill of Low Coast from Spartan Records. How's it going, Jeff?
Pretty good, pretty good. Thanks for having me.
Yeah, man, it's been a minute, and a shout out to Spartan Records and Terrence Yoshiaki, who we connected, and now we're your sync agent. And I thought it'd be cool to bring you in the studio and talk about your new record that had come out back in May of this year, Existing the Dream.
Right on. Yeah.
And yeah, a little background. So correct, prior to this incarnation of your career, if I'm correct, 2 decades you were in the band Gameface.
Yeah, this is for as long back as I can remember. That's been my baby, my first baby. Yeah, we were a pop punk, indie, emo, whatever you call it, band from the 90s on through. We did maybe I think 5 or 6, maybe even 6 full lengths. I don't even really know. Bunch of EPs, toured the country, toured the world. Actually, we did a lot of touring in Europe and whatnot. But yeah, that was just my life up until having kids and all that sort. Or I had one child, but it's been my world. So I'm happy to have found a way to keep being creative and keep making music, and even if it's not like it was for me back in the day, when it was the only thing for me, but now it's still something that I need to do.
Absolutely. Yeah. And it's fascinating because I know from Gameface, which, like you said, it was hardcore emo, post-hardcore emo, and then with Low Coast, a different vibe and sound. And I would love for you to get the backstory on how correct the song started out as sort of a solo project, and then did you link up with Mike and Terrence around the same time? And then I would love to hear that arc.
Yeah, well, I mean, since Gameface had gone all the way through the 90s and up until the early 2000s. We broke up in 2003, but then I immediately started making solo records. I just never stopped writing songs, and I went right to similar to what I guess the Low Coast band, like where I am today, is kind of where I've been sort of shooting for all along, but not knowing or not having the right people to really make that happen. And so I made a few solo records all throughout, I guess, the aughts and up until Gameface got back together in 2012 and did another album. All the while I'm still making solo records and still doing other music projects. So we jumped to 2016, 2017, and I think I'm making another solo record.
Okay.
And usually when I make solo records, I'll try to get as much instrumentation as I can. I'll bring people in to play on the record, or it's just a solo acoustic thing. It's usually just like whatever I can kind of wrangle, like whoever I can kind of convince to play on the record. But when I really started getting serious, bringing in Mike and bringing in Terrence, and when we started really getting into the material for this latest batch, and then when we finally brought Dave Heyman, that's when the songs really started to take on another life, and it really started to sound like a band. It sounded like a band. It sounded like a new thing. It sounded like something that I could never really achieve on my own. So it was like, and I was really hoping, I was hoping that was going to be the case all along, but I was just kind of holding my breath, waiting for the other guys to be like, all right, we're in. So,
sure.
So it just started rolling, it was rolling and rolling. And then it came to a screeching halt with the pandemic. but we had been chipping away at a album since
Mhm.
then, and but yeah, this is finally it, and it seems like, and it feels good that everyone is sort of on the same page with the band. We all feel like we have ownership of it, and we're all equally invested.
Yes, yes. No, and to give a proper intro, so obviously, correct, on bass, Mike Fratantuno, drums and rhythm, Terrence Yoshiaki, guitar, Dave Hemmen, and
Yep.
then on keys, Brian Lampin, and then, of course, yourself on lead vocals.
Yeah. I also play a little guitar as well.
Okay, right on. Yeah. So, no, and I came up in the '90s. Was at Capitol Records at the time, and Terrence and I, when we first did that conference call, this record really resonated with me. With a nod towards Gin Blossoms, Wilco,
Yeah.
and even some of the organ and elements. I could hear Counting Crows in there, and just that organic feel. And
Yeah.
a great record. It's summertime now, and there's a lot of tracks. We'll play a couple in a minute, but it's I think there's car stereo. Just driving down
Oh
PCH,
yeah, for
and so
sure.
yeah.
Right on. Yeah, no, that's really, I've like I said, I had this vision about making this type of record for a very, very long time. And this is how, and this is how I've wanted it to feel. And I love that you get it. It's definitely, it's summertime. It's driving with the windows down. It's all that stuff. And I love all those, 90s jangle pop bands. Even when I was, coming up playing, more punky stuff with Gameface, we always did kind of swing a little towards that like we were always like pop punk with a little Tom Petty and the Heartbreakers influence,
Yeah.
or what. Yeah. And so
Yeah.
now that I have my own sort of Heartbreakers band, we can do all those things now. So
Hmm. Hmm.
yeah.
Yeah, no, it's and correct, the first release, and there was also a video for it, Hard to Believe, a very poignant and apropos song. Me as a sync agent, if you want to talk about when you wrote that track and how it came to be.
Yeah, I mean, well, that was really one of the first songs where I
Mhm.
had to sort of step back and widen my scope of of what's important to me. A lot of times I write autobiographical songs. I'm very, my life under a microscope, and my feelings and this and that.
Mhm.
And so I wanted to like look a little more broad, and write about what was going on in the world.
Mhm.
And that was, I guess, a result of the 2016 election.
Mhm. Mhm.
Um, and so the song led to the video, which led to reaching out to people and saying, "Hey, I have this project, and I have this song." This was long before there was any word of a band or anything. I mean, to us, it was our band, but
Mhm.
we sent it to just friends and family, and we said, "I want you to listen to this I want you to listen to this song,
Mhm.
and if you are moved to, we would love to get you to uh, sing a line or two, look at the camera, like we
Mhm.
want to see your face, we want to see everyone's face, we want to see all kinds of people, we want to represent our world."
Mhm. Mhm.
So yeah, and we got back a bunch of shots, and it was real easy to edit. My daughter helped me do that, and
Sure.
I still, yeah, every time I watch it, I still, I get goosebumps. It really, gives me the right feels every time
Yeah.
I watch it.
No, 100%. I mean, I was checking the stats on it, and 25,000 views and counting, and just like you said, it's so poignant. Like you said, that it's sort of every race, every color, creed represented,
Yeah,
and we're all connected. And
for sure.
it's a timeless song. But yeah, love it, love it.
Right on.
So from there, I know other tracks I was going to share. And then before we go on, one thing, Jeff, to thread the needle that I like that you brought up is uh, sort of your songs. It's like every song is a journal entry and you're sharing with
Yeah.
the listener. So I was just curious because I interviewed a composer the other day, and his creative process, anytime he has an idea, he'll talk into his iPhone or sing and do a lyric or a beat just so he has that idea.
Yeah.
Do you if you wake up with inspiration at 3 a.m, do you have a journal, or what's your
Yeah, I definitely, I used to always have the written journal. I have a few books that are filled, and I've kept them, and they're, they'll be something to look back on one of these days. But now, mostly it is the phone. It is the, talking into the phone. I have, endless voice notes, or little ideas,
yeah
whether it's a guitar riff or it's a lyric or whatever. But yeah, that's been that's been my notebook lately, is the voice note app on the phone. But yeah,
yeah
that's constantly, at least a few times a day. I'm hitting that.
100%.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I'm sure you can relate because this composer was saying, like, if someone stole his phone, they'd look at the notes and they wouldn't be able to
Oh
make heads or
yeah.
tails of it. But then
Exactly. Exactly. Yeah. Yeah. I try to keep it pretty clean because, it gets out of control, and you start doing like, oh, I think I just came up with a better way to do that. And then I got to go back and delete the 6 other versions that yeah, but yeah, that has become my way of like trying to organize my ideas and stuff
Yeah,
like that.
amazing. And what would we do without the iPhone? or
Oh man, it does everything. Yeah.
big time, big time. And then obviously, correct, Jeff, to thread the needle, since you play the guitar as well. So before you bring the tracks, to the rest of the band to fill things out, obviously you already have got the main hook, the lyric or the melody, and then and something fleshed out on your guitar, and then
Yeah.
present it to the band.
Yeah, that's pretty much. I'm gonna try with our whatever happens next, and I already do have a few songs sort of towards another album or another whatever we're doing.
Mhm.
But I felt like I came in with pretty finished songs, when we did this last album, and whether they were finished, verse, chorus, verse, verse, bridge, whatever, structured and all that, but I still kind of, I even had like a sort of a vision of what I thought that the song was going to sound like. And
Okay.
so I'm going to try to not really think that far ahead, and really just let the process happen, because it really did happen a few times where the guys in the band surprised me, and we ended up taking a song in a different direction, and most of the time it was great, and sometimes I felt like, it was hard to kind of let go of my, my vision of what I thought the song was going to be.
Hmm.
But
Hmm.
I'm trying, yeah, the goal for moving forward is to try to be a little more loose about it. I still want to, I still have tons of ideas,
Yeah.
but I want to like say, okay, here's, my very rough, loose sketch of
Hmm.
the song. I
Hmm.
still have a lot of things I want to say, like I still have, and I write on the guitar all the time, but,
Hmm.
um, yeah, it's been a fun process to have this band interpret the stuff that I write.
Yeah. Yeah. Now I can imagine. To your point, if you go in the studio and just have that loose framework, you never know, the inspiration may come from Terrence on the rhythm and the drums, or
Totally.
Brian on keys.
Yeah.
So that's a cool journey, and that'll be interesting going forward to see what comes out.
Right on.
Well, cool. I'm gonna share. I got a couple tracks queued up, and we can play a couple excerpts and then chat about it. So the first track I wanted to, so Everybody Shines. When was this track was this probably written around the same time as Hard to Believe, or?
Actually, Everybody Shines is one of the outliers for this record because it's a song that I had written like a very long time ago. It's one of those songs that I recorded on one of my very first solo records back in
Okay.
the way back when, and I never felt like I really nailed the recording. I didn't have a proper band. It was just me and a drummer. We recorded it in my house, and it just wasn't. But I've always loved the song, and this album started to take shape,
Mhm.
I was thinking the whole time that this song felt right to be in this group. So I sort of pulled back. I pulled this one along and brought it. Yeah, I brought this one into the present. But yeah, Everybody Shines is maybe one of, if not the oldest, one of my oldest solo songs that I had written.
Okay, very cool. No, that's a great through line there. And yeah, here we go. Well, I got it queued up, and
it took a little longer than I planned, but I made it through that book. Now I don't remember every word. If I needed to, I could. I could have used a bit more time, and I guess it couldn't hurt to try a little harder. Everybody shines. It's funny how we all forget sometimes. Every day is a mile down the road, a reminder of where you've been. It doesn't matter how far you go, you'll come back this way again. And every day you learn something new. Forgive and forget. Some days I get so tired, but I'm not tired of being around just yet. I can't promise that I won't look back. I'll just keep it on a separate track and fade it out. Everybody shines. It's funny how we all forget some.
yeah, very nice track.
Sounds good on headphones. I hadn't listened to it in a while. It sounds really nice.
100%. Very,
Right on.
very. I just get the feels on that one as well.
Right
Obviously,
on.
from a sync perspective and everything that's going in the world, just that friendly reminder of,
Yeah, man.
yeah.
Yeah, that's awesome. Yeah, I never, I certainly, never really think about, the whole sync world but I've always like thought like, oh man, I've written some songs that I would love, that I feel would be perfect for, for the, in a movie or in a TV show or whatever. I've just never known how to get there, and so, anyway, I'm happy to be working with you guys, to hopefully I'll realize that dream one of these days.
Yes, yes. We will plant those seeds. It's still the summer, and then we got the fall coming up. But I was
Yeah.
curious with this track, where would it fall in your set list? I know you guys played, and I couldn't make it, but you did a live gig at a bookstore.
Oh yeah, yeah. But this is usually pretty far up to the top. Maybe it's maybe our second or third song. It's definitely more of a welcome to our band kind of a we like to draw you in with this one.
Yeah, definitely. I could sense that. And yeah, before we play any other tracks, how that correct? That was that one of the first time you guys had played at a bookstore setting?
Oh yeah. We've only, the band's new. I mean, we're not young, but the band is fairly new. We've only played a handful of shows, maybe like six shows, a few proper venues, a few outdoor. We did a little festival, and we played the patio at Permanent Records down in LA, and then we did this bookstore in Culver City, which was really, I had sort of tempered expectations for how that was going to go, and it was actually I thought it was fantastic. Like we really, maybe we should play more bookstores. I thought it sounded great, and the crowd, the people were really, it seemed like the right vibe.
Totally.
And it was a full room, and we were thinking that we were going to try to really pull it back and sort of, play, and maybe even play acoustic. But then as it started getting closer, we decided we would go full band, but we would sort of read the room and see, we didn't want to be too loud. But I think, as we started to play, we ended up, getting pretty much, 100%, by the end of the night, we were playing at full force.
Yeah, no, I saw the photos after the fact on IG, and love the setup. And yeah, like you said, it was a packed crowd, and
yeah, it was great.
Brings a different, and that's cool though. Like you said, you manage your expectation and you go into it, and then because nowadays I think post pandemic, everybody's just live music and just vibing and connecting. So yeah, hopefully, that's something to look for in the future. But definitely, future dates we can post up on our website so folks in LA can catch you guys.
Yeah, right on.
And let's see. So Everybody Shines, and then I was going to play Car Stereo.
Nice.
Let's see here. All right. So this is correct. And this track has not been put out as a single.
No. I mean, typically at 7 minutes, pushing 7 minutes is not necessarily your, single, but oh man, I adore the song. I love what we did with it. This was a sort of a surprise to me as we were, sort of creating the song. And this was one where I came in where I said, hey, I have a song it's basically 6 verses. I don't have a chorus.
Oh, wow.
And I'm just going to play it for you guys. And everyone really put their mark on it. And we just, and as you know, it goes off into some places and stuff that I had never tried to do, would never expect from me to do. But it gets a little spacey. And I just love what we did with this. And this is certainly one of the proudest moments of this record.
Yes, that's it really resonated with me, and with that, I'll cue that up. So here's an excerpt from Car Stereo.
Right on.
Car stereo, we still got a ways to go. Take me where I wanna be. Exclude my present company. and every tear reflected in the dashboard light. And I remember how the summer heat felt, driving around, windows down, without a seatbelt. Oh, me in my car stereo, we still got a ways to go. Who'll be the ones who carry or carrying that weight, and navigating lows in the lower 48? I don't know. Another shady day, another moment in the sun. But I'm not an old man yet, but I sure as hell ain't young. Well, I'm somewhere in between, existing a dream. But it means everything when you sing along with me. Sing on, live on, sing on. Car stereo, we still got a ways to go. Forgive my infidelities, forget that old anxiety.
I mean, that's 3 minutes in. I could have put the whole. I could have put the whole track, man.
Yeah, that's the song. That little melody that really ends up being the sort of the chorus of the song is that guitar melody. That's the thing that's in my head the day after and the day after that after we play. Like that's the thing that sticks with me. It's yeah.
Hats off. And phonically, who mixed and mastered the record? Because it's top notch. Obviously, standards of everything you guys do.
Yeah, man. An old friend of mine named Kevin Ratterman, who has mixed some pretty great records. Like he's pretty tight with what's his name? The dude from My Morning Jacket. Jim James, is that it? But he's done a bunch of records kind of in that sort of My Morning Jacket world. There's a band called Strand of Oaks that I really really liked. Mm-hmm. And when I talked to him, Kevin was in a band decades ago called Elliot, and they were on the same label as Gameface back in the 90s on Revelation Records. So we kind of have that's where we know each other from back in those days. But since he's gone off and been this mixing guy and been doing these great records. And so when I knew that I had this project coming up, he was definitely a guy that I wanted to mix. So we tracked it all at the studio, the Transcender studio here in Marina Del Rey, and then sent him the track. We uploaded it for him, and he mixed it at his studio. I think it's maybe Echo Park or Silver Lake or somewhere cool.
Yeah.
But yeah, he mixed and mastered it.
Okay.
But yeah, it's and we were from the very first track that we gave him, because we just kind of did it a piece at a time. Mm-hmm. For the very first song, we knew that he was our guy. It sounded amazing.
Yeah, I mean, what comes to my mind, with that track, obviously for Syncs, it could be a montage scene, opening or closing, driving off into paradise and the sun.
That's definitely the one. Every time I listen to that song, I have a different movie playing in my mind. That is the one. And we didn't even get to the epic part.
Yes, yes. So that's just the teaser, and we'll put the links
Yeah.
for everyone to
Oh,
check
right
out.
on.
But yeah, no, you're spot on there, and you're right with it's almost like if you were to release that as a single, you'd have to do an edited version,
For
but
sure.
it doesn't do justice to the track edited.
Totally. Totally. And that is always our closer when we play
Yeah.
live. We have to play that one last.
I was gonna say, yeah, it's especially summer, those outdoor settings. I bet everyone's just you know,
Yeah.
yeah,
Yeah.
asking for more for the ovation. But very cool.
Right
But
on.
yeah, just wanted to share. And then to close out, I think, I'd be remiss if we didn't play an excerpt from Hard to Believe. And then
Right
that
on.
way we can link to the video. It's just such a powerful track. So we'll play some excerpts from Hard to Believe, which is also out on video. And this is Hard to Believe.
Cool.
It's hard to believe we're all so connected. And it's hard to believe I barely recognize your voice. And it's harder to see you through a pinhole or a blindfold. And it's harder to reach you from each and every new low. But it's easy to hide and be on the winning side. We live with our albatrosses, obsessed with our wins and losses. It's hard to believe we're so independent. And it's hard to believe just how helpless we become. All of the silence has made you an island. We're putting our guns and borders ahead of our sons and daughters. We can build our walls, but we know that won't solve it. Try as we might, we're turning the same blind eye. Time after time, repeating the same old lines, believing the same white lies. It's hard to believe we're all so connected. And it's hard to believe I barely recognize your voice. And it's hard to believe we found comfort in our anger. And it's hard to believe we found comfort at all. Only in danger. It's hard to believe. It's hard to believe. Only in danger. It's hard to believe. It's hard to believe. Only in danger. It's hard to believe. It's hard to believe. Love thy neighbor. It's hard to
Amazing. I hate to stop it at the
Oh,
guitar
yeah.
solo. But,
Yeah.
and you know what just hit me, Jeff, listening to the track, it's so powerful that I'm curious because, even a stripped down version, just you and the acoustic guitar, I mean, the weight of it, it's would still have that, it's just so powerful. The chorus and the verses there.
Oh, thanks. Yeah, I mean, I was also really paying attention to what the band was doing just then. the song, it's a three chord song. That's really, it's simple. And what the guys brought to it, and the steady build of the whole, and the tension and release, or what, or it, yeah, I feel very fortunate to be surrounded by really, really killer musicians that kind of know that, that can take these little ideas that I have and make them into these big, like massive sounding songs.
Yeah. No, live. I think to your point, playing at the bookstore, it's great that it wasn't just a stripped down acoustic vibe, that you just let it rip. And I'm sure everybody was just blown away. And so.
Oh yeah. Definitely.
Yeah, I look forward, because to catch you guys would be amazing there. And let me see, I was just going to share also the website, because I think it's from Spartan Records, and it's very cool to see. I know, let's see, you guys released, correct, was it a limited press on vinyl?
Yeah, very limited, and it's like there are just a handful of copies left. I talked to John at the label last week, and he said, I have no more than like 7 copies left.
Oh, wow!
So it's there, yeah. Like I have like the band has a box, and maybe also have about a dozen between us. But yeah, they're almost gone. But yeah, and it really came out great. It looks great. I mean, not just because I designed the artwork, but the colored vinyl and just the whole vibe of it. It's what I had envisioned, and I love when it happens like that. Came out great.
Amazing. No, and tell me, wow, the vinyl. It looks like it's a blue. It's tricolored, yellow, black, and blue.
Yeah, it's like this. It's like gold. Yeah, gold, black, and and the gold, like actually when you can really look at it and put it up to the light, it's got like a nice, glittery, shiny gold, speckled, and it's pretty great.
That is so cool, Jeff. And it sounds like it's been a minute since I had looked at the vinyl. Correct? Usually it's wow. So first pressing was limited to 300 copies.
Yeah.
And I see here, Desert Dust, gold, black, blue swirl. Very cool. And there was full color jacket, print on reverse board stock. And then remind me the technical term, because it's been years since when I was at Capitol Records.
Yeah.
But what's the proper terminology with the heavier vinyl? There's
oh yeah, like the real heavy is like 180 gram. I think this is like 140. It's definitely a nice, proper, heavy weight, but it's not like the real thick ones. But it's Spartan does a great job. I mean, that was really one of the things that drew me to the label anyway. They do quality stuff. Like every release has been top notch. So I figured it'd be a nice place to be.
Yes, no, and it's sort of been, small world connecting the dots, 2 degrees of separation. I had worked with John years back when he was at Tooth and Nail.
Yeah.
And then his focus was Spartan's indie artists and really supporting the indie artists. So shout out to John and Spartan Records. But no, great place, great home for your release there. And so as we close out in the conversation, always like to ask our guests who come by SyncRiffs, for your own personal listening, what's on repeat on your either in your car or your Spotify playlist, or is there anything new that you came across?
That's a tough question. I've been listening to a lot of, I really have been going back and listening to a lot of older stuff these days. However, I'm just looking at what's on the wall, because I'm a vinyl guy. I listen to at home. I'm strictly vinyl.
Sure.
But the newest Sloan album, they're like a sort of power pop band from Canada. They've been doing it forever. but they consistently put out great albums. Their newest one's awesome. What else am I? Like up here. What is this?
Sloan. Okay.
Yeah, Sloan is great. And then there's a band that I've always loved called Idlewild. They're from Scotland.
Sure. Mm-hmm.
And the singer, Roddy Woomble, has been putting out solo records. And so I've been kind of digging his stuff. Another solo guy that does really like, he's very eclectic. I don't know if you've heard of Riley Walker. He's been like all of his albums on, the last couple of years, I've just been like diving into that catalog. He's got a lot of
nice,
and it's a range from like Americana to like experimental type of stuff. And yeah, he's pretty great. I saw him. He actually, the first time I saw him play, he played at a in-store that I also played. I played in New York City at my buddy's record store, and he said he had this guy come down. He's like, we want to have you play, but I'm going to visit this guy, Riley Walker. He's kind of a thing. I'd never heard of him, and he showed up, and just his guitar playing alone just blew me away. Like I felt like, because I had to play after him, and I was like, I don't know if I could do this, because I'm just like, very, very simple, guitar player, songwriter, but this guy knows his way around the guitar. And so I was like super impressed. And then he toured with and opened for the Drive By Truckers a couple of years ago, and I saw him then. But yeah, he's great. Yeah, like I've been listening to a lot of his records for sure.
That's so cool. So safe to say, is there a particular website you peruse and find all the new vinyl, or is it just kind of word of mouth?
Yeah, I guess I'm pretty old school, I guess. Yeah, I'm still pretty word of mouth. I have a lot of friends that I have a lot of music nerd friends. So I'm always kind of just kind of seeing what they're, and they're not shy about like posting it on Instagram. And so I try to keep up in that way, like, whatever the new thing is. I mean, there's a lot of like new like indie rock bands that I really like. There's a band called Narrowhead. Okay. That is kind of, for me, it's like the best of all worlds. They're young guys, but they sound like if like a 90s post-hardcore band was heavily influenced by Oasis. So it's like Britpop meets grunge type of thing. So that's been really, really great.
Sweet.
Like, I saw them play too, and I thought I'm twice their age, but I loved seeing new bands like make something new, because it's hard to find. I feel like everything's been done, but sometimes sometimes you'll get the right combination of picking from other cool genres and putting them together in a cool way. But yeah, I think that they do it really well.
I'll have to check, because you can't go wrong with a nod to Oasis, and thanks, man. I've got it sounds like a good list of tracks, pieces to check out.
Yeah, right on.
But no, man, the time flew by, and I really appreciate you swinging by and talking about your recent release, and as far as future. For the rest of the summer into the year, obviously locally, possibly some gigs here and there coming up.
Yeah, we are. Let's see, we're playing in downtown LA at the Redwood Bar on August 11th.
Okay.
And then we're playing at the end of the summer, the big Culver City, the big fair festival thing. We're going to play that too.
Oh, sweet! Oh, yeah. Man, that's always a good time.
Yeah. I'll definitely make sure you know when we're playing.
Okay, killer. Yeah.
But and then I'm hoping that like come the fall we're gonna start playing a little more consistently. A lot of the better venues around town. I've been reaching out, but it's been tough. Like I said, we're new. I mean, we're not young, but we're new, and so we are being treated like a very new band, and so you got to really hustle to get things together these days. So I'm trying.
No, for sure. And lots of ears and eyeballs on IG, so we'll be sure from this episode to share the clips, and then we'll post in the links. But yeah, man, it was a great chat, and thanks for stopping by.
You got
it. Always good to chat about your tracks. And thanks everybody for tuning in. SyncRiffs, smash that like button, subscribe, and we'll post all the links to Low Coaster's release and their video. Catch you guys on the other side. Namaste, and thanks so much.
Go.